Hey everybody, it's Mr. Kingsbury. Today I want to talk with you a little bit about polynomial long division, and I'm going to apologize. This is going to be a longer video because there's a lot to it, and I want to pull you in slowly but surely. At any rate, this is Algebra 2. Our unit is cubics, and our essential question today is how do I divide one polynomial by another? Now, before we do that, how about we go back, way back in time to elementary school and remind ourselves how we divide one number by another. In fact, let's use the long division method to do that. Excuse me, I'm adjusting my camera ever so slightly because I want to make sure that you can see everything I'm doing. All right, there we go. So let's just start small with just a simple long division problem. Like let's say I asked you what 2158 divided by 5 was. Well, we could use long division, right? 2158, and we're going to divide it by 5. Now, 5 can't go into 2, so I'm not going to try that. 5 does divide into 21 evenly. Not evenly, but it divides into it 4 times. So I'm going to put a 4 right here. 4 times 5 is 20. So the first thing I did was divide. Then the second thing I did was multiply. Good. Then I subtract. Don't mind the bell. That just means lunch is done. 21 minus 20 is just 1. And then we'll bring down the 5. So then that's the next step. Bring down. And we go through the whole process again. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. I subtract and I get 0. Then I'll bring down the 8. 5 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. If I subtract, I get 3. Now at this point, I have several options. One option is to write it as a remainder. So I could write remainder 3. I don't know if you guys remember doing that, but that was something when you first started that you did, because I don't think you knew about decimals at that point. Which brings me to the second option. I could put decimal 0 and bring down a 0, and I think I would get 0.6 maybe, and it would stop in this case. Other times they go on and on and on. I don't want to do that. And the reason I don't want to do either of those options is because they don't fit well with polynomial division or polynomial long division, which is where we are headed here. So instead, I'm going to write it as a fraction. That would be 3 over 5, just like that. And I have my steps here. 1, divide. 2, multiply. 3, subtract. 4, bring down. Not a big deal, right? No big. Let's try another one. Just to try it really. So example 2, what if we did, I don't know, 5, 7, 8, 3, 6 divided by, let's call it 21. We'll see what the odds are that this works out evenly. So we'll go 5, 7, 8, 3, 6 divided by 21. Let's see. So 21 does not divide into 5. 21 does divide into 57. And actually what I'm doing at this point is I'm looking at how many times 2 goes into 5. I'm going to go with 2. We'll see if that works. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And I will subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. 15 is less than 21, so I'm good. Let's bring down the 8. Oh, my goodness. Let's try. Again, I'm looking at how many times does 2 go into 15. That's 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7. I did that backwards, but it worked out okay. 8 minus 7 is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Whew, what a pain. And we're bringing down the 6. Oh, my goodness. Let's say 2 goes into 11 5 times. So 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. And if I subtract, 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. And I don't have any more numbers to bring down, so I'm just going to put 11 over 21. Holy cow. Does that bring back some memories? I hope so. That's what we're going to be doing, but we're going to do it with polynomials. Okay? Going to do it with polynomials. We're going to use these steps right here. Let's just try one, just real quick. All right, let's try just an easy one. All right, and I know you're afraid, but what if we did 4x divided by 2. Now you notice there's an x in here. So there's going to be a variable part to all of this. All we have to do is make sure that when we're handling the variables, we do it properly, which is fine. Remember, numbers go with numbers, variables go with variables. So in this case, I would divide 4 by 2, right? So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and I have an x. I'm not dividing by any other x's, so I still have an x. So I have 2x. 2x times 2 is 4x, and when I subtract, I get 0. So I get 2x. Now that one was easy. I set it up to be easy because I wanted you guys to be able to see an easy one. Like I said, I want to start you off very simple. In fact, we will do a bunch of examples in class. So I'm probably going to make these more difficult a little bit faster. Just because A, I don't want to waste your time on the notes too much, and B, I don't know, what was the other reason? Oh, because I want to get to the good stuff pretty quick. So anyway, let's just do another example now. So on that last one, here's example 4. On the last one, I just took a single term and divided it by a single term. No big deal. We've actually done that before, and that's pretty straightforward. Also, it didn't have a remainder. So, no big. What if I did something like this? I'm going to add 2 different pieces in here now. What if I did 6x, but let's divide it by 3x. So now I've got a single term, but I'm dividing it by something with a variable. It doesn't change a whole lot. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and x divided by x is 1. So I could put a 1 here, but 2 times 1 is 2, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, they simplify out, if you will. So then I multiply, right? So that was the division. Then I multiply. 2 times 3x is 6x. Then I subtract and I get 0, and I bring down, but there's nothing to bring down. So I get the answer 2. Not a huge deal, but let's ramp it up a little bit more. All right, let's say instead of 1 term, what if we divide 2 terms? Like say 8x plus 10, like that. And let's divide it by, I don't know, by 4. So let's see. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. X, we're not dividing it by any x's, so it stays x. 2x times 4 is 8x. If I subtract, I get 0. Then I'll bring down the 10. 4 goes into 10 8 times. I'm sorry. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. So I've got 2x plus 2, and then my remainder will be 2 over 4. Which reduces to 1/2. So this will be plus 1/2. And I added a couple different things there. Obviously, I added the extra term, and we went ahead and put a remainder in there because you're going to have a lot of remainders, so you might as well see them now. Now, this follows that same model. I still divided and got this number, then multiplied these 2 to get this, subtracted, and then brought down. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And if you'll take it in pieces, it's not that hard. What happens, though, is people try and do too much at once. They try and do too many divisions at once. They forget things, and it's just no good. So let me do a couple more of these for you because we're not really to the fun part yet, and we're already on example 6. That's a little depressing. What if we did... Let's do 16x squared minus 8x, and we're going to divide it by 2x. So walk through it. 16x squared divided by 2x. 16 divided by 2 is 8. X squared divided by x is x. Remember, x times x is x squared. That's what we're going for here. And don't worry about this part over here. We're just doing it 1 term at a time. 8 times, then we multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. X times x is x squared. And when we subtract, we get 0. So then we'll bring down the negative 8x. Yes, bring down the negative. 8 divided by 2 is 4. X divided by x is 1. 4 times 1 is 4, so I don't need to do anything. And that's a positive 4, so I'm going to put a plus there. 4 times 2x is 8x. Uh-oh, and I did not do this right, did I? I was about to go minus, and these should cancel out, but negative 8 and negative 8 don't cancel out. So I forgot something. This is negative 8 divided by 2. That makes this negative 4. So when I multiply around, I get negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. And when I subtract, when you subtract a negative, the two negatives actually combine and make one big positive. So I get negative 8x plus 8x, which is 0. Okay? So at this point, I'm ramping things up a little bit, and this is usually where people start to go, and that's okay. This is one of the more difficult things you will do in class, and I totally expect that it's going to take some time for it to set in. Does not help that we're going to start learning about it, then we're going to go to Thanksgiving and forget all about it, and then we will come back and relearn about it. But it's okay. We'll practice. We'll get some long division in. Should be pretty awesome. Let me do a few more examples for you. There's really only one other thing that's left to do, and that is to go from dividing by one term to dividing by two terms. So let's say that we are going to divide by x plus 3, and we'll divide that into 4x squared plus 7x minus 5. Let's see what happens. Who knows? Okay. Now, I'm not going to do this any different than I've been doing it. Okay. It's not going to be any more or less difficult. I'm going to follow those, what do you call them? Those rules, those steps. No big deal. What happens, though, is people forget about this second part. They forget to multiply through that second part. And that's just no good, man. We're dividing by a binomial, so you have to multiply both. I'll point it out as I do it. It just is frustrating to me because students shouldn't forget that. That's important. So, at any rate, let me go ahead here, and let's just start with x. How many times does x go into 4x squared? Well, this is 1x, right? 4 divided by 1 is 4. X squared divided by x is x. So I did my division. Next is multiplication. 4x times 1x is 4x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. And then do you subtract here and here? That's another thing people miss. They'll subtract. They'll put the minus here, meaning the whole thing, but they won't apply it over here. I put it in both places so that I know what's going on. 4x squared minus 4x squared is 0, so I'm not worried about that. 7x minus 12x is 5x, and then we'll bring down the negative 5, and we do the whole thing all over again. So now I'm going to go, what's 5 divided by 1? That's 5, positive 5. X divided by x is 1, so I don't need to do anything there, and 1 times 5 is 5, let's say that. So that's our division. Then we do the multiplication. 5 times 1x is 5x. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract, subtract. 5x minus 5x is 0. Negative 5 minus 15 is negative 20. So then I have my remainder, which will be negative 20 over this whole thing, x plus 3. Woo! I only got a couple more for you. I want to keep doing some that's more and more challenging. Like I said, we'll do more in class. We're actually going to do a lot of long division practice first with just numbers, just to remind you and get you all good to go. I realize this video is going on and on and on. I'm sorry about that. I'll see if I can't finish up pretty quickly here. Let me look at some of my examples. All right, let's try this one. So now I'm going to make this even longer. I don't know why I put example 1. I think the last example I had was like 7 or 8. Hold on, let's look in the notebook. Example 7. So this should be example 8, like that. And one of these. Love it. Okay, so let's try this. I'm pulling this off of one of my resources here. We've got 6x cubed plus x squared minus 4x plus 1. And we are going to divide it by 2x minus 3. Excellent. Hold on one second. I'm checking one thing. Oh, I don't even think I want to get into that. Yeah, we're going to make that a different video. There are a few problems that I want to do that are a little bit more in depth, but I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet. I think we'll do those on the second day of polynomial division. Anyway, let's do this. Remember, our steps are divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So step 1, I'm not looking at 3 or any of this. I'm just looking at those. What is 6 divided by 2? That would be 3. And x cubed divided by x is x squared. Now, I just need to do that once. I know there's 2 terms over here, but I just need to do it once. It was just like when I did the long division, and I was dividing by 21. I just divided by the 2 part of 21. Same deal here. Now we multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x is x cubed. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. X cubed times no other x's remains x squared, times negative 3. Holy guacamole. Let's try it again. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. X squared times no other x's is just x squared. Minus and minus. And yes, the 2 negatives become a positive. That gives me a 0. And 1 plus 9 is 10 x squared. And then we bring down the negative 4x. And we start it all over again. 10 divided by 2 is positive 5. X squared divided by x is x. So we're good there. And then we multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. X times x is x squared. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And x times no other x's is just an x. So we got minus and minus. They make a plus. 10x squared minus 10x squared is a big fat 0. Negative 4x plus 15x is 11x. And I'll bring down the 1. Uh-oh. Well, this is not working out as well as I would like it, but that's okay. No worries at all. 11 divided by 2 is 5. And x divided by x is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Now let's multiply. 5 times x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Subtract, subtract. I get x plus 16. That's going to be my remainder. I have nothing else to bring down. So I will go plus x plus 16 over 2x minus 3. Oh my goodness gracious, good golly. That's a lot. Holy cow. Wowzers. I mean, that is an intense problem. You know what I mean? Intense. I'm going to do one more, and then we'll call it for quits for now. I may come back with more stuff later. I'm going to need to drop this down one because that's just not in the right spot. There we go. Last one. We've got 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1, and we will divide by x minus 2. Now, I'm hoping that as you're looking at this, some part of you is going, something's not right. You know, is your spider sense tingling? It should be. I don't know if you noticed, but in my other examples, particularly the last 2 or 3, well, the last 2, I have an x squared, an x, and then a constant. I have an x cubed, x squared, x, and constant. There is always a term for every power starting with the largest one we're given all the way down to a power of 0. This one, we have x cubed, x squared, and then just 1. What we need is a placeholder. We need an x. So I'm going to put in plus 0x, like that, and go from there. So let's see. This is 1, by the way. 3 divided by 1 is 3. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Now let's multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. X squared times x is x cubed. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And x squared times no other x's just remains x squared. And then we will subtract here, and the two negatives make a positive. That gives me 0. 4x squared plus 6x squared is 10x squared. Let's bring down the 0x. Alrighty, so 10 divided by 1 is positive 10. X squared divided by x is x. Now let's multiply by that. 10 times 1 is 10. X times x is x squared. 10 times negative 2 is negative 2. And x times no other x's is just an x. Then we will subtract. We'll subtract right here. 10x squared minus 10x squared is 0. 0x's plus 2x's is 2x. Bring down the 1. And we'll start the process over for one more time, all right? 2 divided by 1 is positive 2. X divided by x is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So there we've got our number. Let's multiply. 2 times 1x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Subtract. 2 negatives make positive. 2x minus 2x is 0, and 1 plus 4 is 5. That's my remainder, so we will go plus 5 over x minus 2. And oh my goodness gracious, we are done. That was intense, huh? Yeah, right now, if you're watching this and you're going, that doesn't make any sense. 1, I would suggest watching the video again. 2, try the problems on your own and then compare them to how I do it in the videos. And 3, that's part of learning. You're supposed to struggle. Things aren't going to make sense. We're going to work on it in class a whole bunch to make sure everyone's going to do well. All right? All right. See you then.